What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. And it is time to wrap up this little series. This little series of looking at potential rookie class of 2022 extension candidates. We've got one more guy to evaluate here. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it up front. This is going to be a tough one. This one, I'm going to do my best. But there are some very funky circumstances surrounding Riq Woolen that make a potential extension really hard to evaluate. So just understand that I'm taking a shot in the dark here, and I'm just hoping that it ends up panning out. But I could be way off in either direction. It would not surprise me. Please like this video if you haven't already. Click the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. So, Riq Woolen. I'll go ahead and make this easy right at the jump and say I do not want to extend him. I'm not interested in extending him. So therefore, unless he's giving a monster discount, which would make this whole conversation moot anyway, then from my angle, there's not much to talk about. And I know some of you guys love Riq Woolen. I know he's one of those players that has a very fervent fan base. But for me, I'm not interested in seeing what this guy does after he gets money. I've seen what he does before he gets money. After he gets money, I'd rather not see that. To me, the play is to trade him and get what you can while you can. If you don't do that, then the move is to let him play out the last year of his rookie deal and then figure out what you're going to do after 2025. But there's no way I'm paying Riq Woolen extensive money over an extended period of time and allowing him to feel like he's really made it, because he already feels like he made it. Let's be real here. My judgment of Woolen, based off what I have seen from him over the last 2 years, is that he feels like he's already made it to the big time. And he doesn't need to get better, and he doesn't need to maximize his potential. He's just happy to be in the NFL. And I'm sorry, I'm not interested in paying that guy a lot of money and making him a long-term part of my team. But that being said, there is no getting around these numbers. So while I'm down on Riq Woolen, let me zoom in a little bit here. While I'm down on him, it is going to be very hard to ignore these numbers when you start talking about extension. So regardless of how I feel, it's going to cost a lot. 11 interceptions, 41 passes defensed, really good coverage numbers consistently across the 3 years, gave up a few too many touchdowns this last year, but other than that, made a Pro Bowl, third place rookie of the year 2 years ago. He's allowed a 54% completion percentage when targeted over the last 3 seasons. He's only missed like 3 total games. He started almost every game that he could so far in his NFL career. His QB rating allowed when targeted is sub 69. So he's got plenty of stuff to point to if he wants to get paid. And even Pro Football Focus, that isn't, Pro Football Focus doesn't love Riq Woolen, but they've given him a well above average grade every year he's been in the league. 2022 rookie year, 71.6. Next year regressed a little bit, mostly because of run defense. Coverage numbers were still good. And then this last year, about the same. Run defense grade, by the way, actually was really good, which doesn't... I don't know if I buy it completely. Don't get me wrong. We're still talking about Pro Football Focus here. They can get things wrong. But the point is, this is a player who has consistently been considered at the very least above average overall every year he's been in the league. Like, there have been moments where he's looked really bad. There have been moments where he's kind of embarrassed himself. There are bad plays galore, but the collective for Riq Woolen is he's been really good. So there are some extenuating circumstances. The fact that it seems like he's getting worse each year. For me, there's no doubt that his rookie year was his best year. I don't even think it's close. And since then, I feel like he's been kind of regressing a little bit. 2023 was a year of significant regression, and then 2024, there was some good stuff going on early, but by the end of the year, I was just so over him that I feel like he kind of fell back again. Maybe technically he didn't, but it certainly felt like that. So figuring out this contract is not going to be easy. How often do you have a player make the Pro Bowl as a rookie and then regress each of the next 2 years while still putting up good technical numbers? Nevertheless, let's do our best here. Let's take a look at these NFL contracts sorted by average annual value for corners. Obviously, we're going to go past the first group. He's not getting paid like Surtain. He's not getting paid like Jair Alexander or AJ Terrell. There's no conversation to have there. Let's go down to, let's just start with Tyson Campbell of Jacksonville. Let's start the comparison there. So Tyson Campbell, you could draw some parallels, kind of, sort of, to Woolen, at least in terms of what the extension timeline would be. Tyson Campbell, second-round pick of Jacksonville, almost a first-round pick, by the way. He was literally the first pick in the second round in 2021. And since then, he's been a consistent starter and a consistent good player for that team. He did miss a bunch of time in 2023, but he's been relatively productive with his ball production, good number of tackles. Pro Football Focus, you take a look at his grades rookie year, they thought he was about average, slightly above maybe. Next year, broke out, had one of the best seasons of any corner in the league, 82.1, ranked 6th. And then 2023, big regression back to about average. They still decided to pay him. They still decided to give him the extension after year 3. 4 years, over $19 million per year. No joke. $76.5 million. That's a lot. And look, Tyson Chandler, he definitely had a better, well-rounded year in 2022 than Woolen in any year of his career. And the regression in 2023, they decided to kind of give him a little bit of a pass on, I think. So I don't think this factored heavily into their evaluation. But at the same time, the ball production isn't even close. This guy had 30 passes defensed and 6 interceptions in his first 3 seasons. Woolen has significantly more. Woolen has made a Pro Bowl. This guy has not. So already, like, I'm not saying that Woolen's going to get paid like Campbell. He won't. Yeah, if he gets paid at all. But what I'm trying to say is, you've already kind of gotten yourself into the right territory in some manner of speaking. And I hate to say it. Because, again, I'm at the point where I don't even want Woolen on this team anymore. But if you take a look at the production over the first 3 years, the body of work, the ability to make plays on the ball and take the ball away, it's not that far away. Let's go to somebody like Lenore in San Francisco. He got his extension before the season started, 5 years, just a little over 17.75 million per year over 5 years. The long-term deal. He got this, I think, right before the season started. Lenore, what did he do? Because he played the 3 years and got extended after the third year, just like Woolen would be hypothetically. I mean, he didn't really do anything as a rookie. He was a very, very much part-time player. Started these last 2 years, broke out in 2023. Obviously, good player. Obviously, doing some good stuff. Obviously, some positive things to take away from looking at Lenore's production. Pro Football Focus, rookie year, not that this matters, a little below average. The next year, still pretty below average, and then he breaks out. But even according to Pro Football Focus, his breakout is not better than Woolen's best seasons. It's more well-rounded. It's more versatile. But if you were to compare Lenore's production in his first 3 years to Woolen, again, it's not close. Now, again, I think that you saw a more traditional pattern here with his growth, where the first 2 years he was working through stuff, he was learning, he was trying to figure it out, and then in 2023 he had his best season, so it was like, oh, this guy's on the come up. So I still think we're not there yet, but you see how we're really not that far away? You see how we've already kind of gotten to a point where Woolen can argue, hey, I've been as good, as productive as those guys. I should get paid like those guys. Anyway, Going past Eleanor, you've got Michael Carter II. Let's just go way down here. Go with Michael Carter II, who, by the way, is a slot corner. Woolen's an outside corner. So right off the bat, it's not a clean comparison. Michael Carter is not going to get paid the same way an equivalently productive outside corner is going to be in all likelihood. Last year, he got extended right before the season started. 10 and a quarter million per year over 3 years. So 3 years, 31 million, call it. Michael Carter, what did he do over the first 3 seasons? I mean, he played in almost every game. 2 interceptions over that period of time. 23 passes defensed. Not even close to Woolen level production, right? Putting up decent tackle numbers, I guess. But there's no Pro Bowls. There's nothing here that's like, oh wow, this Michael Carter II guy's great. PFF, rookie year, pretty bleh. In the second year, breaks out a little bit, playing good, doing his job. 73.5, well above average. And then the next year, big year as well. So he does have some positive things you can take away from this. But again, he's a slot corner. I don't think the value is equivalent. Because Woolen just has the attributes that you can put him outside, and I think that's going to be more valuable because that's a little more rare. And while you could argue that Carter's play was better because he's a more well-rounded player, like the ball production's not even close, right? So again, the question is not who would you rather have or who's better, it's who can argue their case better when they get into the negotiation room. And you see how these guys who have all been paid significant extensions, the Michael Carter is actually a big step down from where we were. Michael Carter's all the way down close to 10 million a year. It's not comparable. And then you keep going. What about a guy like a Byron Murphy? Byron Murphy kind of on the low end here. He got an extension with well, it wasn't an extension, it was a contract with Minnesota where he left Arizona. He played his first 4 years in Arizona and then left, signed with the Vikings, 2 years, 17 and a half, so 8.75 million per year for Byron Murphy. And what did he do the first 4 years of his career? He was, he played most of the games. He missed a bunch of time in 2022, granted. He had 1 year of big ball production. Numbers are decent in terms of just general production, right? They're pretty good, but he never made a Pro Bowl during this time. He never was considered to be one of the better players in the league at his position. PFF, first year, really bad. Really bad as a rookie, one of the worst corners in the league by PFF. Next year, a little above average. And then the next year, regresses a little bit back to like average levels. And then the next year, he's slightly above average again. So we've definitely gone too far. There's no way Woolen's going to show up and be cool getting less money per year than what Byron Murphy got in the previous offseason. I don't think there's a case for that. Even Murphy in his contract year, which was one of his better years, was still probably on the whole not as good as Woolen was this last year. So that's ultimately what's going to come out here. That's ultimately what's going to matter. If you're looking to extend him, he's not going to roll in there and say, "Oh, just give me $5 million a year and I'm happy." No, he's going to try to get what he can get. So we've definitely gone too far. And to be perfectly honest, I think we've kind of gone too far with the Michael Carter thing. Michael Carter's probably too far as is. So I think that if you want to extend him, you are at least going up a little bit from Michael Carter, 3 years, 33 million, and I feel like that might be the floor. And again, I'm very open to being off the mark here. I guess it could be a little less than Carter because Carter had broken out into a really, really good player by his third year, and Woolen's regressing. But even Woolen in his regressed form is putting up good numbers and doing things that most of these other corners cannot and will not do. So if he wants to ask for big money, he has a leg to stand on. I'm not giving it to him, and I don't think this team is either, and I don't think anybody should. But the thing is, at a certain point, Woolen can just go, okay, I'm going to let it ride. I'm going to actually give effort this season, and I'm going to go get a $100 million contract next offseason. I'm going to try to tackle this year. I'm going to lock in on coverage, and I am going to get paid because I have that talent and I have that production. So the extension needs to be at the point where Woolen considers it worth it for him to take, I think you got to at least get to 10 million and probably 11 million per. And there's no way I'm doing it. I don't want to see this guy after he gets paid. It's already rough enough before he's gotten paid. But this is a tough one, guys. It could be way less. I don't see how much more less it could be, really. It could be way more. Like, again, I compared his production to Tyson Campbell. It's not a blowout. It really isn't. It obviously Campbell's a better player and he has the reputation of being a better player, but there's some moving parts going on here behind the scenes that we see as fans that we all know about. We know the problems with Woolen, but the numbers are the numbers, and he's going to be able to make a coherent argument that he's one of the best corners in the league based on his ball production. So he might roll in there and ask for 15 million a year. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's a non-starter. I'm not even having that conversation. I don't really want him for any price unless unless he legitimately doesn't care about money, which there's no way that's true, and it's going to take a $5 million a year extension. Nobody's going to do that. But yeah, I think the extension would be somewhere around 3 years, 33 million, and no way, no how am I doing that one. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think, though. This one's tough. If you have a different take on how this could go, then let me know. And that's the end of this series. We're going to be moving on to other things going forward, but let me know what you think about Riq Woolen.